the home of the Total Tour Natal. This is the famous seaside city of Durban, a popular holiday destination for many South Africans for many decades. But its skyscraper hotels, endless beaches and marine parade will be far removed from the drivers' minds, as this is what they will be concentrating on: marbles. These little stones are the most important feature of the Total Tour Natal, as they cover the majority of the sugarcane-lined gravel stages around the town of Scottsboro on the KZN south coast. They may be small in size, but each year they play a huge role in the outcome of the event.
You literally got a hard-packed surface underneath with a very lightly luted surface on top, and that creates a very slippery environment. And the first 4 cars really just clean that top layer off, and the next guys get the benefit of digging right down into the hardpack. Nobody really wants to be first on the road.
In an effort to add to the excitement of the Total Tour Natal, as well as find a way to determine road positions, the organisers have decided to have a timed qualifying stage near the Suncoast Casino and Moses Mabhida Stadium Rally headquarters. The idea is simple. The 10 fastest drivers over the qualifying stage get to choose their starting and road position, while providing the spectators with an early taste of rally action.
It's a 1 kilometer stage to determine your starting position for the entire day, so the net effect might be measured in minutes, but right here we're fighting for split seconds.
A dream start for the new BP Ultimate Volkswagen Polos, with Enzo Kuhn and teammate Hathan Fecken setting the fastest times on the qualifying stage. The Basil Reed Ford of Charles Wilkin ties the Castrol Toyota of Leroy Poulter for 3rd. The long wait was finally over. It's been 4 months since a rally car turned a wheel in anger, but the 2012 South African Rally Championship is now underway, as the first of 32 cars take the starters' orders in front of a packed Suncoast Casino. Japie van Niekerk is the first to leave the total start ramp, followed by the Basil Reed Ford of Jan Habig. The SAC Peugeot of Hein Latergan is next, ahead of the Sasol Ford of Williams and the Castrol Toyota of Johnny Gemmell. This is stage 1 of the Total Tour Natal. Ellingham is a 25-kilometre test of driving skill just outside the south coast holiday town of Scottsboro. It's also the longest stage of the event, and although it's only stage 1, it could well influence the entire outcome of the Total Tour Natal.
First car on the road is what one can call an unwelcome return to rallying for Japie van Niekerk and new co-driver Gerard Snyman, especially on a stage as tricky as this one.
Very slippery. We had a moment or two. Power steering went, handbrake went. Difficult day in office. First hour.
Second on the road is not much better. It is also Jan Habig and Robert Paisley's first stage behind the left-hand drive wheel of the new Basil Reed Ford Fiesta. But the master reached the end. The SAC Peugeot of Hein Latergan and Johan van der Merwe was the 3rd car to sweep the marbles on stage 1. John Williams and Cobus Frey are the first of the Sasol Ford Fiestas to get their season underway. Johnny Gemmell and Caroline Swan start their first season together behind the wheel of the Castrol Toyota Auris.
Yeah, it was a nice stage, long, 25 k's, but sleepy, eh? So, not too bad, but I think the guys behind us will be
moment that Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton have been waiting for. The Sasol Ford crew lost the 2011 title under controversial circumstances, so he will have plans to set things right in 2012.
Left 1. Left 3 and left 9, no cut. Left 9, no cut. Yeah.
A narrow escape for Cronier, who was lucky to continue, but nearly 2 minutes were lost.
We spun and got stuck, so lost some time.
Leroy Poulter and Alvin Coetzee in the second Castrol Toyota Auris get their 2012 season underway. And this is the second of the Basil Reed Ford Fiestas. Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich blast into the 25 kilometers of stage 1.
Possibly Max opens all the way, 150. You'll see the left 7 in over dip, left 7 in over dip.
And the moment of truth for the new BP Ultimate Volkswagen Polos of Hergen Fecken and Pierre Aries, followed by teammates Enzo Keen and Guy Hodgson.
It's a caution, hairpin right, stay in. Now hairpin right, stay in, keep in. Keep in. 70, stay left through the bad dip.
Officials, team members and media all anxiously await the arrival of Leroy Poulter at the end of stage 1. But something was seriously wrong. Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich were about 4 kilometers into stage 1 and driving hard. But up ahead, the rally was about to take a turn for the worse.
Left 4, it's right, left 9, go, cut. Long caution. Stop. We gotta stop. I just want to pull away. Guys, get your extinguishers.
The stage is stopped.
After what felt like ages, the cars of Wilkin, Fecken and Keen finally merged from the sugarcane at a sedated pace. But the Castrol Toyota of Leroy Poulter and Alvin Coetzee was missing.
At about 5 k's in, Leroy had just gone off into the sugar with the exhaust on the sugar cane.
And there was a big fire, and the Toyota looks totally destroyed.
The worst news possible for Castrol Toyota team principal Glenn Hall.
Crew were all right, but car's finished. Everything brand new. Disappointing.
It was a cruel end to Leroy Poulter's challenge, barely 4 kilometers after it started.
Alvin tried with a fire extinguisher to let it out, but we were unlucky, and when we jumped out the car rolled down the hill into the cane, and that was us. Game over, you know.
The 2012 South African Rally Championship is now well underway. Well, sort of anyway. The fire that consumed the Castrol Toyota Auris of Leroy Poulter forced the organisers to cancel stage 1. The rally would therefore only start in earnest on stage 2. It also meant that Mark Cronier's mistake on stage 1 was erased, as all the drivers will start stage 2 with a clean slate. And this is what they had to face. Stage 2 and 3, with no chance to service the cars in between. The consequence of not staying on the road was now a huge factor in the minds of all the drivers.
Once again, the new Africa Developments Polo of Japie van Niekerk and Gerard Snyman was the first car to tackle the slippery marbles. It's also the first time that van Niekerk drove a rally car since he had a big accident more than 8 months ago. So he did well to survive stages 2 and 3. To change to a new team after driving for Volkswagen for 20 years is tough. To change to the left-hand drive seat of the Basil Reed Ford Fiesta is even more of a challenge. But Jan Habig isn't a 6-time South African champion for nothing. Habig and Paisley were cautious though and safely completed stages 2 and 3, albeit a little off the pace. Business commitments will probably see Hein Latergan and Jan van der Merwe miss a few rounds of this year's championship. But the SAC Peugeot driver was as determined as ever to do well. The 7th fastest time on stage 2, followed by the 8th fastest time on stage 3, was a good start. John Williams and Cobus Frey start their second season behind the wheel of the Sasol Ford Fiesta. A time of 6 minutes and 40 seconds over stage 2 was less than a second slower than Latergan. But on stage 3, he managed to beat Latergan by just more than a second, leaving him half a second ahead of Latergan on the overall scoreboard.
Into long, left 6 opens. Repeat into long, left 6 opens.
As a clean racing line starts to form, the times start to come down as most of the marbles are swept away. Johnny Gemmell and Catalan Swan and the remaining Castrol Toyota Auris took full advantage of their road position to set the fastest times so far on both stages 2 and 3.
Yeah, going nicely. Things are working nice. A little bit slippy. Got some used tires now for this one, but it was okay.
The second Sasol Fiesta, driven by Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton, was the 6th car on the road. Normally, Cronier would have made use of his road position to attack the stages, but he was probably still thankful for receiving a second chance and took it rather cautiously to only set the 4th and 9th fastest times respectively.
Right 5 into K, left 7 narrow, into right 9 in, right 9 in.
Yeah, we just need to settle down. That's what we need to do, and just focus on what we need to do. That's all. We'll be fine.
With the Toyota of Poulter removed from the equation, Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich was now the 7th crew to traverse the stages. The Basil Reed Ford Fiesta blitzed through the 8 kilometers of stage 2 in a time of just 6 minutes and 29.4 seconds to take the early rally lead. Wilkins set another quick time of 5 minutes and 47.8 seconds on stage 3, but he had to wait for the Volkswagens of Keen and Fecken to see if it was fast enough to retain his lead. Seeing that stage 1 was cancelled and that the rest of the field drove through it at a snail's pace, stages 2 and 3 presented the first real opportunity for the brand new BP Volkswagen Polos to show their mettle. Ergen Fecken and Pierre Arries did not disappoint and gave rally fans a first glimpse of the car's potential by setting the 3rd and 7th fastest stage times on these 2 stages.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. Left 6.
From 10th on the road, Enzo Keen and Guy Hodgson knew exactly what they had to do, and that was to go as fast as possible to try and chase Wilkin down. The benchmark time on stage 2 was set at 6 minutes and 29.4 seconds, but the BP Polo crossed the flying finish in a time of 6 minutes and 29.9 seconds, just half a second slower. On stage 3, Keen really let rip and went 3 seconds faster than Wilkin to move to the top of the overall standing. Next car on the road, the Monster Energy Ford Fiesta of Sebastian Klaassen and Cindy Hardy. It's Klaassen's first ever outing in an S2000 car, so the Cape Town-based Dutchman took it easy while finding his feet at the sharp end of rallying. There must have been a fair amount of pressure on the shoulders of Jean-Pierre Damso and new co-driver Grant Martin. This is, after all, the Total Rally, and Damso is behind the wheel of the Total Toyota Auris. But the son of rally legend Serge coped well with the pressure by setting impressive stage times to complete these 2 stages in an excellent 3rd position on the overall leaderboard. Mohamed Musa and Andre Vermeulen in the 2nd Total Toyota Auris had a less than perfect start, with a fair share of problems slowing the Auris down and relegating them down to 15th place.
Got the puncher in the first corner of the stage and I drove the whole bloody stage like that. You know, the rally's over before it even started. This is just not the way I wanted to start it.
This is the first taste of South African soil for Dutch driver Hans Weiss Jr. and Belgian co-driver Bjorn de Gan in the 3rd of the BP Polos. Weiss is regarded as a superb talent, but it will take time for the youngster to come to grips with the fast pace of rallying here in South Africa. It didn't take that long, however, as he set the 2nd fastest time of all on stage 3.
time to take a breather after the first 2 stages of the Total Tour Natal. It's a fantastic start for the new Volkswagen Polo with Enzo Kuhn, who leads the Ford of Charles Wilkin by less than 3 seconds. JP Damso does well in third, but he has both Gimmel and Fecken breathing down his neck.
Stage 4 was a shocker for Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton, who lost more than half a minute to the leaders.
Yeah, it's one of those days. Nothing wants to go off.
Stage 5, however, was a different story, as the Sassel Ford Fiesta took its first stage win of 2012 to complete the day's gravel racing in 9th position overall.
60. Caution error.
Jan Habig and Robert Paisley were still getting used to the left-hand drive Basil Reed Fiesta as their times slowly improved. Habig was much closer to the pace on these 2 stages and moved up into 8th position overall. In Europe, the drivers get the chance to create their own set of pace notes. In South Africa, they get given a set of notes which makes things very different from what Hans Weiss is used to. 7th on the leaderboard was therefore a more than decent start for the BP Polo driver. They say that the South African Rally Championship is one of the most competitive series anywhere in the world, if not the most competitive, with a string of around 8 drivers that can fight for victory. John Williams hasn't tasted a victory yet, but he's certainly capable of winning and finished the day's gravel racing in 6th position.
To right 3, to left 1.
JP Damso has tasted victory once before, but that was late in 2008, and good results have been scarce since. The team total driver was consistently fast to occupy 5th on the leaderboard. At the sharp end of the fight, Johnny Gemmel and Callan Swan had it all to do in the remaining Castrol Toyota Auris. Gemmel is undoubtedly one of the favourites to win this year's championship, and the East Rand businessman slowly crawled his way into 4th position overall, thanks to a fine stage win on stage 4. There were less than 3 seconds separating Charles Wilkin and Enzo Kuhn before the start of these 2 stages, so it was clear that both the Basil Reed Fiesta and the new BP Polo had the pace to fight for victory. But their minds were already set on strategies for day 2. The leader of day 1 will have to sweep the road on day 2, a role that Wilkin and Godrich clearly did not want to play, as they deliberately slowed down near the end of stage 5. Rally leaders Keane and Hodgson clearly had the same idea. Wilkin's time of 5 minutes and 57 seconds was a full 10 seconds slower than earlier in the day, showing just how much he was willing to sacrifice in order not to sweep the roads on the following day. But Keane went nearly 20 seconds slower than before to ensure that he does fall behind Wilkin in the overall standings. A perfect example of rally tactics and strategies at work.
A bit of strategy in our planning here, so we didn't want to run first tomorrow, but seems it all worked out well for us.
While all of this was happening, Hergen Fecken and Pierre Aries were obviously enjoying the speed and competitiveness of the new BP Volkswagen Polo. Fecken was driving well, and with Wilkin and Keane deciding to lose time on purpose, Fecken shot straight into the rally lead.
Behind the factory and other top S2000 teams and cars, a number of drivers were contesting the new for 2012 S2000 Challenge class. The cars competing in this challenge are the same ones used by factory teams in previous years. Henk Latergan is the son of Hein Latergan. The Pretoria youngster is one of the most talented drivers ever to grip a steering wheel. But his S2000 debut ended prematurely when he rolled the Q8 Oils Volkswagen Polo early in stage 2. Nicholas Ryan and Jeff Tyra is the most experienced pairing in the challenge class. The Grand Mark VW Polo set the fastest time on stage 2, but they soon got reeled in by the Toyota of Namibian driver Vilro Dippenaar. Over the next few stages, Dippenaar slowly edged away from Ryan to finish the day's gravel stages with a 13-second lead over Ryan. Zulu and Carl Peskin also made their S2000 debut behind the wheel of a BP Volkswagen Polo Vivo. But Zulu had a few problems early on, resulting in a minute penalty that relegated him down to third in the S2000 challenge. Apart from S2000 and the S2000 Challenge, the third class for rally cars with engines up to 1600cc in size will make up the 2012 South African Rally Championship. These cars only have front-wheel drive, but they also have a number of very talented young and up-and-coming drivers behind their wheels, as well as a few older, more experienced ones. The Total Tour Natal started off well for former circuit racing driver Clint Weston and his brand new Reef Tanker Citroen C2. Weston and co-driver Herman Groenewald set the fastest time on the qualifying stage, but their rally ended prematurely when they rolled the Citroen on stage 3. Stefanie Buerta and Angela Shields also had high hopes of performing well on their sponsors' event. But the two ladies also fell victim to the slippery sugarcane roads when they rolled their Team Total Toyota late on day 1. Jacques Coloradi and co-driver Kez Naidu returned for another season behind the wheel of the Galvadiv Toyota and started well by completing day 1 third in the S1600 class. Craig Trott is the veteran of this class, and as always, the old hand was once again in contention. Together with co-driver Robbie Coetzee, the Team Total driver completes the day just 4 seconds from the class lead. And the class lead in question belongs to the youth and talent of former circuit racer Guy Bottrell and co-driver Simon Basie-Lyle. The Yato Tools Toyota crew drove well to overhaul Trott on the last stage of the day to take the provisional class S1600 lead. So, after 5 of the rally's 16 stages, Herman Fecken takes a slender lead of 4.4 seconds over early pace setter Wilken. Kuhn deliberately drops to third overall, closely followed by Gemmel and Damso. After an eventful day's rallying in which he lost his teammate, Johnny Gemmel finds himself in 4th position, but just 7 seconds from the lead.
Yeah, it's a good place, just not at the head of the field, down a little bit. It's probably the same position as I started today, 4th, 5th. But that's okay, good.
Over at the BP Volkswagen camp, Enzo Kuhn had time to reflect on the dreaded concept of road sweeping and the tactics he employed to ensure that he doesn't have to sweep on day 2.
So what we do is we race all day, competitively, come to the end of the day, calculate the total, and then I actually stopped, gave away time not to be first tomorrow.
The Basil Reed Ford Fiesta of Charles Wilken will have to be the second car on the road. And although it means he is currently laying second overall, it's a position Wilken didn't want.
We'll just have to make the best of it tomorrow, but the car's going well, so yeah, it's going to be a tough day tomorrow.
First overall for the brand new BP Polo is a great start for Volkswagen. But it also means that Herman Fecken will be the broom for day 2.
Yeah, look, I wasn't really planning on being first. We were lying 3rd and 4th, so I didn't realize everybody would go a little bit slower just to not be in the lead tomorrow, but they've given me quite a few seconds, so we'll see if we can defend it tomorrow.
While the teams and rally cars were still enjoying some well-earned rest and attention in Scottsboro, a large crowd started to gather near the famous Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban for the final spectacle of day 1 of the Total Tour Natal. There was an ominous feeling in the air above the service park when the skies turned dark and rain clouds gathered. A storm was brewing. As the first drops of rain started to fall, the winds of change swept into the Volkswagen service area and brought with it a stroke of bad luck. Clearly, rally leader Herman Fecken had a problem.
Just doesn't want to start. It looks like it's a faulty button.
After a frantic 8 minutes, the Polo fired up and was on its way to Durban for the final spectator stage. But 8 minutes of lateness resulted in a 1 minute and 20-second penalty, and Fecken tumbled down the leaderboard. The spectacular popular Moses Mabhida Stadium provided the perfect backdrop for the final showdown of day one. Thousands of spectators gathered to witness the spectacle that allows fans to get up close and personal to the action.
The road positions for day two were already determined, so the drivers had to find a fine line between not taking too many risks and not losing time in the process. Cronier and Robin Houghton took the stage victory by exactly a second over the BP Polo of Hans Weiss and Bjorn de Gaan. The Dutchman seemed to have found his feet, but he was only 0.4 seconds faster than the Castrol Toyota of Johnny Gemmell and Catalin Swan. Stage like this are very close and very rarely impacts on the overall standings. But in a rally this close, impact on the standings is exactly what it did.
So the name Fecken tumbles down the leaderboard from 1st to 9th, while the name Charles Wilken once again appears at the top. But now with Johnny Gemmell breathing down his neck, just 1/10 of a second. Day 2 of the Total Tour Natal Rally. The day that will most probably set the tone for the rest of the season. We only have a 1/10 of a second between the two names at the top of the leaderboard, with a string of equally fast drivers snapping at their heels. And this is the first stage of the day, the same stage that turned the rally on its head even before it got started, so the drivers will be wary.
The BP Volkswagen Polo of Hergen Fecken and Pierre Harries are the first ones to break the morning silence. Fecken has to play the dreaded role of road sweeper, but soon he would have more serious problems to worry about.
And it's the same problem as we had yesterday. The startup just didn't want to kick in. So we tried to push start it, but unfortunately it didn't want to go.
Rally leaders Charles Wilken and Greg Godrich are the next ones over the slippery sugarcane roads of Ellingham. The Basil Reed Fiesta driver was held up at the scene of Poulter's fire the day before, so this was his first attempt at this tricky stage at full pace. He set the benchmark time of 19 minutes and 17 seconds.
3:18, left 7, big drop out.
Fecken falling prey to the Total Tour Natal, the honor of the blue BP Volkswagen Polo was now in the capable hands of Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson. The Polo crossed the flying finish in a time of 19 minutes and 9 seconds, a full 8 seconds quicker than Wilken. It became clear that the stage times would start to tumble, and tumble it did. Johnny Gemmell and Catalin Swan blitzed through Ellingham in a time of 19 minutes and just 1 second. The Castrol Toyota started the day just 0.1 seconds from the lead, but this time was enough to rocket them straight to the top. JP Damso and Grant Martin had a good day on day one, and from 5th on the road, the team Total driver had expectations of setting a good time, but he didn't. 19 minutes and 33 seconds was more than a half a minute off the pace. A clean racing line was starting to form as the roads were swept, something that John Williams and Cobus Frey clearly wanted to exploit. The Sassel Fiesta was driven hard as they set a brilliant time of 19 minutes and 3 seconds. Dutch driver Hans Weiss and co-driver Bjorn de Gaan started their second day of South African gravel road racing behind the wheel of the BP Volkswagen Polo. Weiss was clearly enjoying his African adventure.
Yeah, but we were so good on the road. You know, this is the first time on the stage, and one corner closed a little on the end, and I couldn't do anything anymore, so we get in the field and we need to get out, and we lose only now 10 seconds. It's really because we had a very good stage at the moment.
Next up, the second Basil Reed Ford Fiesta of hometown heroes Jan Habig and Robert Paisley. Habig was clearly not happy as he only managed a time of 19 minutes and 32 seconds, more than half a minute slower than the pace set by Gemmell. Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton started day 2 in an uncharacteristic 8th position on the overall leaderboard and a full 27 seconds behind the leaders. But the Sasol Ford Fiesta driver has proven that he has what it takes. And on the first stage of day 2, he made his move. Cronier was flying as split times indicated he was on course to shatter the fastest time. 18 minutes and 37 seconds as the flying finish flashed past. A full 24 seconds faster than Gemmell and nearly a minute quicker than the majority of the field. After sweeping the roads on day 1, Japie van Niekerk and Gerard Snyman were hoping for better luck on day 2. But it wasn't to be, as Ellingham claimed another victory.
And this morning our woes continued and we had no brakes on the first stage.
Back in the service park, it's half-break for Hargen Fecken and the new BP Polo.
Unfortunately, that's the end of the rally pass.
Fecken's retirement poses a new problem for the Basil Reed 14 of Charles Wilkin.
The main problem starts now, the next few stages. Hargen's out as well now, so we're going to be first on the road, and the next 4 stages are going to be really difficult.
This is where the outcome of the 2012 Total Tour Natal will be decided. Stages 8, 9, 10 and 11 are within close proximity of Scottsboro, but together they account for more than a quarter of the rally's special stage distance.
Young Namibian driver Bruno Dippenaar and navigator Morne de Tooy have been knocking on the door of the top 10 for the entire event. And on stage 8, the youngster finally managed to set the 10th fastest time. On stage 9, he went one better and with it moved up to 10th on the overall leaderboard. John Williams and Cobus Frey have run as high up as 3rd overall, but things were about to take a turn for the worse. The Sasol Ford Fiesta developed a differential problem, leaving Williams to do battle with only 2-wheel drive. He lost a massive 3 minutes in stage 8 alone, followed by another 2 minutes on the following stage, and plummeted down the leaderboard.
When I aimed to do that, the side shaft came off right at the start of the stage. So we were in 3rd place and staying in the middle of the road, no hassles all day, and something like that happens. It's unfortunate, nothing we can do. Disappointing.
After 2 nightmare stages, technicians could finally attend to the problem. The Sasol Fiesta was back up to speed, but Williams was down in a lonely 12th position overall and had it all to do over the remaining stages. Musa and Andre Vermeulen had a less than perfect start to the Total Tour Natal, but the Tsenin businessman seemed to have ironed out all the little gremlins that were bugging him as he got up to speed on Saturday. By the end of stage 11, the Team Total driver was in a very credible 9th position overall, just 2 seconds behind his nearest rival. Musa's nearest rival was none other than the experienced Nicholas Ryan and Jeff Tyler in the Grand Mark Volkswagen Polo. Although he had the Team Total Toyota of Musa closing in on him, Ryan was still comfortably leading S2000 Challenge and 8th overall. JP Damso and Grant Martin might have felt a little extra pressure on their sponsors' event. Sponsors want you to be fast, but they also don't want you to make a mistake and throw it all away. It's a very fine line, one that Damso knows and understands. He emerged from this series of tricky stages in 7th position overall. At the start of the event, no one really knew what to expect from Hans Weiss and Bjorn de Gant, least of all Weiss himself. The young Dutch driver is very highly rated in Europe, but his experience on gravel is still very limited. Although the new BP Volkswagen Polo showed signs of various altercations with the sugarcane, the Dutchman was in good spirits and enjoying the experience.
Yeah, the car's okay.
Jan Habig and Robert Paisley finally got to grips with their new Basil Reed Ford Fiesta. He started this week of stages in a lonely 8th position, but after setting a number of fast times, including the fastest time of all on stage 9, the 6 times champion flew up the leaderboard straight past his former teammate Enzo Keane and into 4th position overall. Less than 24 hours ago, Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson were fighting for the overall lead of the Total Tour Natal. So much so that Keane could afford to throw precious seconds away at the end of day 1 to manipulate his road position for day 2. But on day 2, the plan slightly backfired for the former champion. The BP Volkswagen Polo slid down the order to 5th place overall. Charles Wilken and Greg Godrich were definitely not comfortable with sweeping the roads, which made it impossible for the Basil Reed Ford Fiesta driver to fight for the lead. Wilken's challenge was therefore not to fight with the two leaders in front of him, but rather to fend off Keen and his own teammate Jan Habig. But a problem near the end of stage 9 didn't help.
I've got bigger problems. The power steering's gone, so the last 2-3 Ks was a bit tough.
The Pretoria driver, however, kept his head down and kept the Fiesta on the road while slowly increasing his advantage over the chasing pack while maintaining his 3rd position overall. The Sasol Ford Fiesta of Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton started this crucial part of the event just 4 seconds off the lead. But if Cronier's performance on the stage before was anything to go by, it wouldn't take long for him to reel in the Castrol Toyota Auris of Johnny Gemmell and Carolyn Swan. Gemmell knew that Cronier was coming and even from 3rd on the road went faster than anyone else on stage 8. Time of 10 minutes and 54 seconds was quick, but was it quick enough? Mark Cronier made full use of his better road position and drove hard once more. He was 4 seconds adrift but crosses the flying finish in a blistering time of 10 minutes and 46 seconds. Cronier is your new leader by a full 4 seconds. Gemmell's pace over the next few stages was remarkable, considering that he was 3rd on the road. But even so, there was nothing to do about Cronier and the flying Fiesta. Cronier's 4-second lead became an 8-second lead after stage 9. And although Gemmell won stage 10, it was only by a single second. On the following stage, Cronier once again opened up the taps and increased his lead by another 9 full seconds. It was a crushing performance.
Back at the service park in Scottsboro, it was time for well-earned rest for both man and machine, and time to reflect on the day's stages so far. Wilken was still in 3rd and ahead of the chasing pack, but he had no answer to the speed of the leaders.
We've now really got to push in the last 4 stages because they're all repeats, and hopefully we can maintain our 3rd place. I think that's the best we can hope for.
Johnny Gemmell had thrown all caution to the wind, but was there anything he could do to chase Cronier down?
Yeah, now we're going back to these 4 stages that we've done this morning, so I'll keep going, eh?
Mark Cronier was in devastating form and controlled the race beautifully from the front, whilst almost making it look easy.
It's never easy, but we're just trying to keep it clean, like I said right from the start. You know, when we're on those notes and you're keeping the car smooth and tidy, and then yeah, the times just flow. So that's the aim of the game.
These are the final few stages of the 2012 Total Tour Natal. Stages 12 to 15 are exact repeats of the 4 previous stages, so hopefully for the guys at the front of the field, road sweeping will be a thing of the past. It should now be a straight fight to the finish.
The side shaft inside the Sasol Ford Fiesta of John Williams and Cobus Frey was now repaired. Over the final few stages, the Cape Townians showed that they've got the pace to compete with the front runners by setting a few top 5 stage times as he climbed his way up the leaderboard and into 9th position overall. The team Total Toyota of Mohamed Musa and Andre Vermeulen also managed to climb up the leaderboard. It was the pairing's first outing together, something that bodes very well for the future. 8th overall for Musa. The Grand Mark VW Polo of Nicholas Ryan and Jeff Tyrer was fighting all day with the team Total Toyotas of Damso and Musa. And after stage 12, Ryan was still sandwiched between them in 8th position.
We are ahead, but it's to stay there now.
But on unlucky stage 13, it all went wrong.
The tyres that we've had were finished already, and we've gone through the stages, and the stages are rough. We just went to the left 7, no grip at all. Couldn't control it, couldn't brake. Into the sugarcane, tried to reverse back down into a fire brake, but hit a rock, or a rock stopped us, and just got out with what we could. Actually, everything's in the car.
With 2 rally cars totally destroyed in as many days, Team Total's JP Damso and Grant Martin were happy to survive the event. Damso was fighting for a top 5 earlier on, but found the going tough on day 2. A problem near the end of stage 13 didn't help much either.
Something broken in the back, both sides. It's just floating both ways.
Damso fought bravely in the afternoon stages in a bid to regain the lost time, and ended the rally in a credible 7th place overall. The African Odyssey of Hans Weiss and Bjorn de Gaan continued all day long as they found their feet on South African soil. The BP Ultimate Polo took a severe hammering with bumpers falling off, flat tyres getting changed, but nothing could dampen the young Dutchman's spirits.
Well, definitely 5K, so but the time was not so bad with that one, so we go on for the next one.
6th position might have been a little off the pace, but it was still a good indication of the potential of both the driver and the new BP Volkswagen Polo. And we're pretty sure he can't wait to return to South Africa for the next event. Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson were still stuck between a rock and a hard place. The former 2-times champion knows all too well that a championship isn't won on the first event, so running in 5th position wasn't too bad. But he would have loved to give his team a podium result on the new Polo's first outing.
Got a slight temperature problem, so you can see the lights are on every stage, but Charles driving well, we can't really catch him.
It wasn't to be, as the former champion had to settle for 5th. But beware, the new Polo was fast out of the blocks, and with a little more time to test and develop it even further, it will soon be a formidable force to be reckoned with. And speaking of a formidable force, it took just over a day of rallying, but Jan Habig and Robert Paisley eventually managed to adapt to the new and left-hand drive Basil Reed Ford Fiesta. Habig was on a charge late in the event and had already moved up a number of positions. The question was, how far could he go?
4th for now, but it's a bit difficult to judge the speed, right? So we'll see how it goes on the next stage.
The answer was indeed 4th position, as the top 3 was just too far ahead and the stage kilometers were quickly running out. But the old master had made his intentions clear for the rest of the season and sent out a clear warning.
At the top of the leaderboard, the matter of podium position still had to be decided. Cronier looked in control of the race, Gemmell had him in his sights, and Wilkins' road sweeping duties was a thing of the past. But would any of this change the leaderboard?
For around 85 kilometers on day 2, the Basil Reed Ford Fiesta of Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich had to sweep the road clear of all the marbles. But this final loop of stages has already been swept earlier in the day. Although still first on the road, Wilkin was much more comfortable the second time round.
Oh, much better. I don't know how quick the guys are going behind me, but it felt good. Very good step.
It was, however, decision time. As the 2 front runners were too far ahead, Wilkin would have had to take huge risks in an effort to try and close the gap. It was simply not worth the risk, and it seemed like he was prepared to settle for 3rd. Johnny Gemmell and Callan Swan started this final loop of stages just 17 seconds off the lead. Rallying is an unpredictable sport, and knowing that anything could still happen, the Castrol Toyota Orders driver dug deep in an effort to close the gap. On stage 13, he managed to eke into Cronier's lead by a full 8 seconds. But would it be enough to catch the Flying Fiesta?
I don't know what he's going to do in this one, but can't go much faster than that.
Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton knew that the rough stage 13 at Pinningly posed the final obstacle. It's the type of stage where things can go horribly wrong in an instant. So although he lost a few seconds to the charging Gemmell, he was more than happy to emerge from the stage unscathed with his lead still intact.
I'm happy. That was a comfortable pace. The car's clean.
Cronier's lead was down to less than 10 seconds, but the Sasol Fiesta driver responded by setting the fastest times over the next 2 stages by 3 and 7 seconds respectively, to open up the gap to a comfortable 10 seconds with just 1 short spectator stage to go.
In the S2000 Challenge class, Gugu Zulu and Carl Peskin overcame a number of obstacles to work their way back up on the leaderboard on day 2. The BP Polo driver lost loads of time on day 1, but recovered well on day 2 to finish his first ever rally behind the wheel of an S2000. More importantly, Zulu will bag the all-important points that come with 2nd place in the S2000 Challenge class. Nicholas Ryan was on his way to claim the first ever S2000 Challenge victory until the fire that consumed his Polo put an end to his aspirations, which left the way clear for the Namibian duo of Wilro Dippenaar and Morne du Toit. to claim the inaugural S2000 Challenge victory. Dippenard is still young, but he's improving with every event and gets a top 10 finish overall to go with his victory in the Challenge class. Class Super 1600 is the training ground for future stars. It's also the place where many of today's top drivers learnt the ropes of rallying. So, third in class was a very good result for class newcomers Murray Lloyd and Ralph Lehman in the MLC Computers Volkswagen Polo. Matthew Vasey-Lyle is another youngster and rookie who made his national debut here in Natal. Together with the experience of Schalk van Heerden, the youngster drove a superb rally to claim second position behind the wheel of his Fragram Tools Toyota. The saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks once again proved to be more than true, with team totals Craig Trott and Robbie Coetzee claiming yet another victory in this class. The youngsters will have to learn that to finish first, you must first finish, an art that Trott has perfected over the years. A convincing victory for Craig Trott and Robbie Coetzee in the Super 1600 class, ahead of Vasey-Lyle and Lloyd.
First win of the season, and especially happy with that, and it's always a bonus to win it on the total rally.
There was still one more stage that stood between Mark Cronier and victory. The final special stage of the Total Tour Natal in the shadow of the majestic Moses Mabhida World Cup Soccer Stadium and in front of thousands of fanatical spectators. Total pulled out all the stops by providing a great spectacle that even included the antics of superstar trails bike rider Brian Capper. The scene was set for the final showdown.
The stage was only 3 kilometers long, and the gap between Charles Wilkin in third place and Johnny Gemmell in second position was more than a minute. Wilkin knew it was too little too late, but gave the crowd a good show while winning the stage in the Basil Reed Ford Fiesta. Johnny Gemmell and Caroline Swan had a full 20 seconds to make up on rally leader Cronier. This wasn't going to happen in just 3 kilometers, and the Castrol Toyota driver conceded defeat. Although it was still a special stage, Mark Cronier and Robin Houghton treated it as a lap of honor in front of the thousands of spectators who have come to witness a dominant performance. It was a fine victory for the Sassel Ford team, who will be hard to beat in 2012.
Mark Cronier romps to a convincing first victory of 2012 ahead of Johnny Gemmell. Charles Wilkin completes the podium in third. Hubbick's fourth place earns the Basil Reed squad the team prize, while the debut of the new BP Polo ended in fifth. Dippenard takes the first challenge victory and finishes in 10th. In a rally as tough as the Total Tour Natal, third place is an excellent result for Charles Wilkin.
I'm very tough. You know, it's been a difficult day today, running first on the road, but the car worked well.
Toyota lost one car on this event, but Johnny Gemmell's fine second position will provide some consolation.
But it was okay, we pushed. Mark was a bit down the road, he got a bit more grip than us, and he was going well. We couldn't keep up with him today.
And what a dominant performance by Mark Cronier, who gets the season off to a perfect start by spraying the Victor champagne from the top step of the podium.
Starting off with the momentum that we've got going forward to our own rally now in Sassel, and knowing the package that we've got, putting a lot of effort in the off-season. The guys have done a great job on the car, so yeah, I think it's just the spirits we need going forward.